Uh, Welcome, friends. Welcome to Konak Corporate Insights. I'm Avinash Gorakshakar, and today we'll be talking about a very interesting company called Marine Electricals India Limited. We would be talking to the chairman and executive director, Mr. Vinay Uchil, and he would be explaining us, various aspects of the company, its present operations, its future prospects, and what is going to be its medium-term strategy. So, friends, without wasting time, let me welcome Mr. Vinay. Mr. Vinay, please welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Avinash ji. Nice speaking to you.
Yeah. So, Vinayji, it's a pleasure to have you on our show. And to begin the show, I would like to ask you the first question is that can you give us some background and basic idea about, what is the main business of the company and, how did this business start and what is the current competitive, position of the company in the marine as well as in the industrial market? So, your thoughts on these would be really be appreciated.
Thank you very much, Avinash ji. Marine Electricals is a 43-year-old company. It has started in 1978. It was started by Mr. K.D. Uchil, who used to earlier work in Mazagon Docks as a electrical manager, and he started this company after resigning from Mazagon Docks. So, as right from the start, Marine Electricals was involved in primarily manufacturing electrical equipments for the Indian Navy. So this line of business still continues today. We manufacture many equipments, starting from the power distribution, automation, the radar systems, communication systems, etc. I would say everything which is electrical and electronics that go on board a naval ship or a commercial ship is either manufactured or supplied by us. So this is a sizable part of our business even today. In addition to that, we also have an industrial segment where we supply electrical the equipment, that is low and medium voltage equipments, and automation packages to building and the industry segment. So that is new greenfield projects by various companies like data centers and pharmaceutical companies, automobile companies, you name it, any segment. We supply the power distribution again in these that is low and medium voltage equipment for these type of applications. So this is our two main lines of business: the industry and the marine, which includes defense and commercial ships. We also have entered into our foray of electrical vehicle charging business from last year, and we see a good future with the incentives and the push provided by the government in this segment. And we see that this segment would become a sizable or as large or larger segment compared to our existing two businesses in the coming future. So in terms of the business as such, in the marine business, we are very well placed because of our many years of experience in the Indian market. We supply our equipment to all the major and minor shipyards in India, both PSU shipyards and private shipyards, and we have got a very good standing with these companies because of our track record and because of our many years of experience, and also because of the technical expertise that we have gained over these many years. So this is primarily on the marine front. On the marine and naval front, we also supply our equipment into other countries. Like we are very strong in the Middle East. We supply our equipment regularly to Europe and also into the Americas, and also Southeast Asia. Not much now, but earlier when there was a lot of shipbuilding in Singapore, Malaysia, etc. That point of time, we used to supply a lot of equipment also into Southeast Asia. So primarily, we supply these equipments, I would say, all over the world. In India, we've got a sizable market share because we've been supplying this equipment to all the shipyards in India. For the Navy business, we are a tier one supplier to Indian Navy. So we for most of the equipment that we supply, we are nominated by Indian Navy, and we generally are among the two or three nominated vendors for each of the equipments that we supply. So this is just in a short to give a brief about our company and our competitive position.
Okay, fine. Vinayji, now tell me one thing. What could be the current order book, as far as both the marine defense and the industrial segment is concerned? If you could tell us some update as of now, what is the current order book, and typically how much time do you take to execute these orders? Like what's the order execution kind of run rate with you? So that will help us understand that what's the kind of order book visibility and the revenue visibility for your company.
So the current order book position for both the industry and the defense segment is around 450 crores. Uh, 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 the industry and the defense segment are slightly different in terms of the execution time. For defense, because of a series of vessels that are going to be built, the execution time or the deliverable time is some anywhere between 2 to 3 years for large projects. For smaller projects, is between 1 to 2 years. Whereas in the industry, generally from receipt of order to delivery, it is anywhere between 4 to 6 months. So basically, most of the order, so whatever the order book we have about 450 crores is executable in the next 2 to 3 years. So this is how it is. But out of this 450 crores, almost about 350 is in the marine and the defense segment because the execution is over a few years, and the industry segment is around 100 crores, which is to be executed in the next 1 year.
Okay. Vinayji, tell me something about your electric vehicle infrastructure kind of business foray, because that is something which is also into the limelight. So if you can share with us, what are the products you all are planning to manufacture, what is the capacity, and which are the target segments you all are planning to enter. So anything which could help us understand the electric vehicle infrastructure foray which Marine is planning to undertake.
Okay. So, Marine Electricals got into this business about a year and a half back with the acquisition of a small boutique company called Evigo, who was already in a very small way in the sale and establishment of EV charging. When we took over the business, our objective was to build the EV chargers indigenously. So today we have the complete range of AC and DC EV chargers. AC is what in normal parlance we call as slow chargers, and DC is fast chargers, basically, which will be more prevalent in commercial spaces and infrastructures like charging stations, etc. So we have a complete range of AC and DC chargers completely developed indigenously by our company, and we have already started commercial sale of these EV chargers. We also are now in the process of setting up representative dealers all over the country to push our business of or increase our sales in all over the country. So this is at present what we are doing. Uh, uh, we see a large growth in this business because, in fact, in the last 1 year itself, because of multiple factors. One is the cost of fuel. Number two is the government giving a lot of incentives on purchase of EV vehicles. We see a large growth in the already we have seen a large growth in the in the EV vehicle uh, visibility and sales, and and we just we would see that this market share of EV vehicles will probably increase drastically in the next 1 or 2 years. And even if we have in next 3 years about 15 to 20% of all vehicles being electric vehicles, as it is as the vision of the government, it will be a very large market for EV charging solutions. So we are looking at various segments. One is EV chargers in residential and commercial complexes. We are also looking at EV chargers for like a petrol station, so we call it a EV charging station. We have already started selling such EV chargers for commercial applications to a few of our customers, and this customer base is increasing very fast. In addition to that, a lot of large power utility companies like Adani and PST and so on and so forth are coming out with tenders to set up EV charging stations, and we are actively participating in these tenders. The advantage we also have, Avinash, is that we have developed the EV charging software in-house. So the complete application for the payment and registration and uh, data of where our EV chargers will be available is available on the app that we have developed, and we offer this app as a service to our customers, both the retail customers and EV charging station customers, so that the visibility of their EV chargers are available on the app. So today, what we are offering is a complete software and hardware solution for EV chargers.
Okay. Vinayji, can you tell me one thing that currently what is the kind of capacity you have put for electric vehicle, charging, infrastructure, and where is this facility located? Because
So
whether it is there in your existing facility or have you put up a new facility?
yeah, so the advantage we are having is the infrastructure required for EV charging for EV chargers is exactly the same as the facility that we already have at present. Uh, we in 2019 have started our third plant in. We have a manufacturing plant in Mumbai and Goa. So we have just started our plant in 2019 in Goa, the third plant, and as such, with this capacity, we have almost around 1 lakh 30,000 square feet of manufacturing space. And with this facility, we should be able to take care of both of our current business in the electrical panels and the EV chargers within our facility. Uh, looking at the rampant growth, I would say that within 2 or 3 years we might have to go in for a new facility once these facilities that we have just put in will outgrow the the manufacturing or the customer requirements. So
So
as of
Vinayji,
today,
can
I would
you
say as of today I would say that the facilities that we have are good enough for the next 1 or 2 years based on our on the growth in all these three segments that we foresee.
okay? Vinayji, one question I wanted to ask you is that in the very beginning you said that electric vehicle business, that is charging infrastructure business, could overtake your existing business at some point of time. So I was
Yes.
just wondering that in the very first year, will FY22 be the first year of operations where we will actually see some revenue coming from electric vehicle charging
Yes.
infrastructure?
So we have already started sales of the EV chargers. So FY 21-22 will be our first year of commercial sales in this EV charging segment, and it will grow.
Okay,
It will grow, very fast from 20 to 23 onwards.
okay,
With the type of discussions we are having with various stakeholders.
okay, fine. And one more thing I wanted to ask you now, after speaking with you on the electric vehicle charging business. See, for most of your contracts, that is your marine defense contracts and industrial contracts, what is the kind of pricing policy? Normally what we find is that some amount of raw material costs have to be borne by the vendor, and some part of it have to be passed on. So does the company have a sort of a price escalation contracts both for the defense business and the industrial business? If you can share some light on this.
So let's take it differently. In the industry business, the execution time is very short. As I said earlier, it's between 4 to 8 months, and we generally don't see a very large increase in prices in this short period. So we are quite well covered in at least in the industry business. On the marine business, Again, I would say more than 50% of our business is on a shorter execution period, that is between 6 months to 1 year. But when we have a larger execution business, then execution of 2 to 3 years, we have to consider that increase in prices over the next 2 or 3 years in our costing. So we generally take into our consideration if we have a long delivery schedule for certain projects. There are certain things like of late there has been some increase in raw materials in terms of steel and copper, etc. In these cases, we have been able to get back to our customers and speak to them about, this is sort of a force majeure condition or abnormal increase, and we have been able to both in defense and in industry been able to get additional price increases for these type of deliverables.
Okay.
But this
Fine.
is very specific because of the sudden increase in prices. But generally,
Exactly.
when it's a long, long deliverable orders, we take this price escalation, say when we about 5 to 10% every year in our costing, and we quote accordingly, and we get orders also accordingly. So when we have to deliver for 7 ships, the first ship will be at a lower price, and seventh ship will be at a higher price.
Okay. Okay, fine. So I think understood properly. Vinayji, now tell me one thing that I was seeing your working capital cycle over the last say 2 to 3 years. Now what I've observed is that obviously you supply to the Indian Navy, which is obviously a very very safe customer. I
Yes.
would like to understand that what is the reason for such a high working capital cycle. Although I'm quite sure that the company must be making efforts to optimize it, but is it because of the industry characteristics, or is it because of some other related issue that the working capital cycle is slightly high? So any thoughts on that, that could we could we expect a
Sure.
better working capital cycle, or maybe it is the industry phenomenon which you would not be able
Yeah.
to change much?
Yeah. So there are we will break it down into a few parts. The first thing is that most of our equipment, especially in industry, is works out to be basically it is going as a fixed asset into various plants or buildings, etc. So basically, this becomes a capital for our customers, and so the demand for this equipment is generally very high during the year end. That is between January to March. So traditionally, a lot of our sales happens towards the last quarter and I would say the last month. So a bit of the working capital that is seen from our financials, it looks high because of this aspect that a lot of our
Okay.
sales happens during the
Yeah.
last quarter and the last month because
Okay.
people prefer to have whatever input comes basically for depreciation, etc., towards the last month. So
Okay.
this has been a sort of I would say way it has been we have been our business works, but otherwise the during COVID and slightly before that, especially on the marine and the navy front, we had some delays in payments because of the infrastructure wherein we were not able to people were not present to move things from the customers, and because people were not able to come to offices, this has slightly stretched the last 1 or 2 years our payment or working capital cycle, and we see that we will be from this year onwards. But now, since everything has come back to normal, from this onwards, we will be seeing a reduction in the working capital cycle starting from this year. In addition to that, the third thing was that we had certain EPC contracts which we have now completed, and we had some payments pending from there, which is now coming in, and because of which the last 2 years was showing sort of a stressed working capital cycle, which from this year onwards will see a marked reduction
Okay.
because we have completed EPC contracts.
Okay, so basically,
So
you're pretty
these are the
confident.
three
So,
aspects. Yeah, these are the three
okay,
aspects which in the coming in this financial year and coming years there will be definitely a betterment in our working capital side.
okay, fine. Now, I think understood, very well explained, Vinayji. Now, Vinayji, tell me one thing, that in terms of your operating margin or EBITDA margin outlook, like, you all have been getting consistent orders from, the marine defense segment. The industrial segment also is growing very fast considering the growth in the infrastructure. Plus now, you all are even looking at electric vehicle infrastructure, segment. Now, all this, what does it portray for the operating margins going ahead? Can we expect that EBITDA margins could steadily, show some improvement? Because obviously electric vehicle charging, is a very unique segment, not many players,
Yes.
and I think you have that expertise with you. So all that, can we expect that EBITDA margins over the, say, next 2 to 3 years could see some steady improvement from the current levels?
Yes, definitely we will see that. Again, I would go a little back with regards to again our line of business because of this EPC contracts. Our margins or the EBITDA margins were slightly lower. Now, once we have completed the EPC contracts and we don't and with our current business line of marine defense and industry, we are very bullish about this. We've got good orders and we see a good pipeline for the next coming 5 to 10 years. We prefer to concentrate on on these segments, and with the increase in this business, obviously the margins also will increase because the infrastructure is already there, both in terms of uh, the manufacturing infrastructure and the intellectual infrastructure. So with this, we would see our margins steadily growing in the next few years. As you say, rightly said, EV charging also is a sort of is a new segment, and we are there as a very few suppliers right in the start of this business. So we would see good realizations in this business. Of course, there would be some infrastructure to be set up in terms of people, etc., to take care of services in the first year. But moving forward, I would say that this would surely improve our EBITDA margins as a company. This new segment, EV charging.
Okay, okay.
So
uh,
overall, I would say next 2 3 years we would see a steady growth in our working capital or operating margins.
Okay. Vinayji, just wanted to get a flavor from you that since you have been working very close to the marine sector, especially the defense marine sector, could you give us some idea about what is the kind of market opportunity, what is the kind of market size? Because not many people know what is the actual size of the market here. And over the next 2 to 3 years, I'm saying this why? Because we hear, now that most of the shipyards, or maybe the, ship manufacturing companies like Cochin Shipyard, Mazagaon Docks, their order books are overflowing. So,
Yes.
what could be the opportunity size for you actually in some sort of a number? If you could give some idea about what is the size of the opportunity which, you are looking at over the next, say, 2 to 3 years. So, that will help us a lot to understand your potential.
So I would just say that today uh, all the shipyards put together, the order book on the shipyards would be somewhere around uh, between 70 to 80,000 crores with this all shipyards put together, and or I would say even more than that. And the next 2 to 3 years would at least in what we manufacture and sell. Uh, with the current order book which is available with the shipyards, we would look at somewhere around for all the equipment, that is about 100,000 to 1,500 crores as the orders that could be available to us in the coming 2 to 3 years.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And basically, since, you.
Sorry, this does not include orders which are supposed to come to yards or is in the process of coming to yards. These are the orders which are
Okay,
already available, and there are a lot of orders which are in the pipeline where yards are already putting and which will subsequently come to us. So
okay,
what it means is that there would be a order pipeline, a good order pipeline for the next 5 to 10 years, with all the projects that are in the pipeline for our customers.
Okay, fine. Yeah, very good. I think Vinayji, one question which is also very important in your business, I think, is the R&D. Now, with more and more new ships being made, now what are the changes which these these customers from the marine Indian Navy segment, what are the kind of demands which they make as far as R&D is concerned? So, do you have to actually upgrade your R&D on a regular basis to ensure that the products which you supply to these customers is going to be up to really international standards? So something on the R&D side, if you can throw some light, what is the company doing here?
So what we have done is that we have an ongoing R&D in our company, that within our technical team, that already takes care of improving the products based on the what is vogue in the global industry. So we've been doing that, and that is the reason why we are able to supply our equipment all over the world. Because unless we have the best quality and a good product which works well, and which has got all the features that would be available anywhere in the world, we would not be able to supply into countries in Europe and the USA. So just because we are supplying equipments which meet the latest standards, we are able to supply into these countries. However, in the last about 4 to 5 years back, we took a decision to set up a R&D facility, specially to develop new products both on electrical and power electronics and electronics. And we now have a setup in Cochin for the past 5 years, headed by a very senior person who has been in the industry, both in India and in other countries. And he is Mr. Suresh Nayak. He heads our R&D setup in Cochin. And we have a team of engineers who are involved in developing new products. So what we do is, Navy or our customers come out, with a lot of products which they would like to indigenize, which are now being imported, and they would like to have a substitute, primarily in terms of providing a good service, because which is lacking when it is coming from outside the country. And so we've been very successful in developing few products which are now become import substitute. And also that improves the make in India, or design in India philosophy that the government is looking at. So there's a push, and this push has made us uh, not only set up a R&D facility, but we are also growing the R&D facility, because uh, and we are investing this year almost about 3 to 5% of our sales was invested in R&D and developing
Okay,
new products. And the EV charger is one of this product which is come because of the R&D setup.
okay, okay. Yeah, good. Vinayji, one last question before we conclude. Would like to know, what is the kind of, capex plans which you have in mind, especially for electric vehicle charging infrastructure. What kind of money is expected to be spent? Hopefully you said next 2 years you will not require anything, but any normal kind of capex which you will be doing. And secondly, when you manufacture these, products for both the defense and the industrial segment, is there a certain amount of outsourcing also which you do, or everything is manufactured in-house by your company?
Yeah. So in our current line of business, what we have done is to maintain quality right from the start. Our philosophy has been to manufacture everything in-house. So right from the design up to the fabrication and manufacturing, sales, everything as far as possible we do in-house. That's primarily to keep our quality, or keep the quality of our deliverables good. Moving forward, when we look at EV chargers, which is a standard product, we might look at outsourcing some of the equipment, especially enclosures, etc., which we have designed from outside. But otherwise, a lot of the manufacturing will be done now. So in terms of capex, as I said, in 2019 we set up our third plant, which effectively doubled our capacity. So we are quite well placed in terms of the plant capacity. However, what we are doing is we are continuously improving our machinery. So even this year we are spending almost about 100 million rupees, primarily in getting new machines in for to improve our output. So this is so this minor capex is continuously comes in, where we change the machines or improve the efficiency of the plant. But otherwise, I would say for the next 2 to 3 years, the current plant or the capacity is good enough to take care of our sales for the next 2 to 3 years. We are already started looking out for a new capacity which should come up in the next 2 to 3 years. So there we would require a capex, probably starting from the next financial year to set up a new plant to take care of our capacities from say 2024 or 25 onwards.
Okay, okay, fine. I think Mr. Vinayji, thank you very much. I think all the best for your company in the future
Thank you, sir.
also, and we
Thank
look
you, sir.
forward to talking to you in future also. So thank you
Absolutely.
very
The
much.
pleasure is mine.
And friends, it was a pleasure talking to Vinayji. Hope all of you enjoyed it. And that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much.